Hello everyone, myself Sowmya, Assistant Professor in CSE AIML Department, MLR Institute of Technology. In this video, we are going to discuss about first Flask application. In the previous video, we have discussed how to install the Flask. So in this video, we are going to discuss about how to write a Flask application and how to execute that application. So coming to the overview of this presentation, the first Flask application. So what are the things we are writing in a Flask application, explanation of each and every step, and the Flask application structure with the example. So this is the first Flask application. So coming to the first statement, you are writing an import statement from Flask. So this is a module. This is a package. So from this Flask module or from this Flask package, you are importing a specific class. So what is the class you are importing? Flask. F is capital here. So Flask is a class. So this particular Flask class you are importing from the package Flask. So the package name, the module name is F is small here. And after that, I need to create a reference or object for your Flask class. How you are creating object for this Flask class? This is the way. So app is my object for this Flask class is equal to I'm using the constructor. So Flask, the name of the class, of it is taking one parameter of your class name. So generally we will suggest for all Pythons as underscore name underscore as the class name. So it will be sent as a parameter for this class, and after that you need to build the URL. You need to set the root for this module. So for this app, @app.root. So root is a method which is used to set the URL for your method. See, I told you that in the previous video, after executing your Flask application, you will get one IP address. So simply if I copy this IP in the web browser, I should get the output. When I will get the output, if I copy this IP, if the root is only slash here. Slash in the sense, obviously after IP, you will be given, you're going to give a slash, right? So this is the root. I'm setting the URL like this. Whatever the IP it is giving, followed by slash, it will give the output. No, I don't want to follow this. I want to change the URL. Then in that case, the root method, what I'm doing, after hyphen, I want to give something like app. Now, whatever the IP it is giving, if I simply paste that, I don't get the output. Why? Because what is the URL you are giving? After slash, you have to give app. So whatever the IP it is giving, copy that, and after that slash app, then you will get the output. So in that way, you are setting the URL for your application. So that is the use of this root method. So when this root method, if I copy this URL or if I copy this IP address, what will be executed? The corresponding method will be executed. The method name, you can give anything. How to define the method in Python? Def. The method name is home here. Then this home method, you're not calling explicitly, or no one is calling it. So when this home method will be executed, whenever this URL is copied in the web browser, right? So whatever the URL you are setting using root method, if you paste that URL, this home method will be executed. So what is this home method is doing? It is returning, hello, this is our first Flask website. And after that, if the name of your application is main, so whatever the name of your application underscore name underscore is equal to main application, then you are running your application. So generally this will be needed whenever you are maintaining multiple what we call multiple programs. So generally in Java we will write multiple programs with multiple, in the same package we will write multiple programs, and differently we will execute the programs, right? Each program you will execute differently, individually. So in that case, you can do this, otherwise you can ignore these two statements. Anyhow, the app will be run. You don't need to call this run method explicitly, the app will be run. But if your application is a main application, then call this app.run by making the debug value as true. So this run method will run your application, but it has some parameters. We will discuss about the run method later, but one of the parameter is debug. So what is this debug? What is internally happening in the program? So if you want to know that information, debugging information, you should make this value as true. But if you have only single application, single program, single application in your program, then you can ignore these two statements. Otherwise, you can keep this. So coming to the explanation, so we discussed all those things, but coming to the syntax of root method. So this root method, what is a root method? It defines a URL mapping of the associated function. So to set the URL for the corresponding method. So what is the method we have here? Home is a method. So this is the root. This is the URL setting for this method home. So to set the URL to your method, you are using root method, and this root method is taking two parameters. One is rule and the other one is options. So coming to the rule, just now we discussed the slash is the rule, slash after slash app is the rule. So like that, you can set the rule accordingly. And after that, options. If you want to send some other parameters, like along with the rule, if you want to associate some other objects, then you can pass them as options. And coming to the run method, so we are calling run method explicitly in some applications, but coming to the syntax of run method, it is taking 4 different parameters. So one is host, other one is port, debug and options. So what are these parameters? So host is nothing but the default host name is a local host, and the IP for this local host is a 127.0.0.1 for this Flask application. And coming to the second parameter is port. So for this Flask, the port number is 5000. So this is the default local host and this is the default port number for Flask. And coming to the debug, by default the debug value is false. That means we don't get any debug information. At the background, we don't get any debug information defaultly. But if you make this debug information as true, then we will get the debugging information also. And options. So what is this run method? Run method is telling the server to execute our application. So while calling this run method, if you want to pass any information to the server, then you can pass that information in the form of options. So I'm sending some message to the server, do this, do that, like that. If you want to send that type of information to the server, then you can pass that information in the place of options. So this is optional. This is the default value it will take. If the port number is also 5000, by default it will take. But by default the debug value is false. So that's why I'm making this value as true to get the debugging information also. In this video, we have discussed about the first Flask application, but we will try to execute this application also. So this is our code. I'm just copying it. So now coming to saving, I should save this application in our newly created folder in the C drive. So users, MLR IT, we have created a folder called new. So here I need to save the application, app1.py. I'm giving the extension as Python. So now I'm going to execute my application. How to execute the application? Set Flask app is equal to, our application name is app1.py. Now after that, how to run? Flask run. Then immediately it will provide one IP address here. Just copy this IP to get the output. Now paste this IP in any browser. See, this is the output I'm getting. Hello, welcome to First Flask website. So in this way, you can execute the Flask application. So that is about the execution of first Flask application. So in this video, we discussed about the first Flask application and what are the things we are writing in the Flask application, like root method, run method, why we are writing run method. Each and every component we have explained, we have discussed in this, and we have also seen how to execute the Flask program. Thank you.